Okay, this is the next activity in business IT with analyzing product distribution with M&Ms. And even if you were not able to be present for part one of this, you can do part two, and that's what this is. This is part two. Let's look at a couple of things. On Google Classroom, there will be a copy of this handout all linked up, and everything that is in this little demo that I'm about to do is step by step on this paper. So that's all set. That's linked up for you there. And also there will be a file for you to open, and it will be for your class. I am using 5th hour as my demonstrating example, but if you happen to be in the 1st hour class, the file that you click will be for your class. The only difference is that the names will be different, the numbers will be different. In 1st hour, the list of names is longer, so you have to adjust a little bit and do a few things a little bit differently, but it'll all still work the same way. All right, so let's go to work on what we're doing here. What we see here is everybody who was present the day that we did the M&Ms, where we made guesses and we counted the actual number of red, green, blue, orange, yellow, brown. And these are actual numbers. These are how the bags really turned out. First of all, on this assignment, I want you to do a series of calculations to get some data about these M&Ms. So the first thing, and again, I'm using 5th hour as an example. Let me move this window over just a smidge. All right. So I'm starting with Lily Adams. This is an alphabetical thing. Lily and Natalie are going to be kind of the markers here because they're at the top and the bottom of that alphabetical list. So we're going to start with Lily, and I'm going to click at red, drag to brown, and what I want to do is just, excuse me, calculate how many M&Ms did she have. These are her actual numbers, and so we're just going to go up to our little menu, our little buffet menu there, and we're going to get a sum, and it tells us 56. All right, Lily had 56. So I'll click back on that 56, use the duplication handle, and pull it right on down like that. Now what we get is a little picture. One of the questions that we talked about is how many M&Ms are in a bag? Well, it's not the same in every bag, but you're getting a picture, right? It's usually in the 50s. Sometimes you'll get a bag that pops up into the 60s. That's not very common. Looks like our highest was Quincy had 57 and Mackenzie had 57, and but I'm not seeing any others who had more than that. Poor Camden only had 52. All right, so anyway, now we kind of have that answer. If anybody was ever wondering how many M&Ms are in a bag, it's probably in the 50s, probably. All right, so let's look at our next calculation. We're going to go over here to the red M&Ms, and there were a bunch of red M&Ms that were eaten or counted. So here they are. I'm going to select all the red M&Ms, and right here for the color total, I'm just going to I'll go to our little formula buffet up here and just say let's calculate a sum. And we'll press enter there, and it comes out 130. Cool. All right, so I'm going to click back on that 130, and I will duplicate, drag that over, and I'll drag it over all the way so that it even covers this total column right here, and it tells us that we had a grand total of 824 M&Ms. This is a smaller class, so our total did not break 1,000 M&Ms altogether. But now what we do is we start to get a picture of, if anybody were to say, well, what was the most common color in your bag of M&Ms? Well, for at least this class, this experiment, now we know. Right there you go, orange. 194 had more than any other, right? Okay, now averages. What was the average number of red M&Ms in a bag? Okay, now here we face that problem where we can't just like drag down here and get it off of the little buffet of formulas. That won't work. We can't do that. So we're going to have to write it ourselves. Not that bad, right? So we go equals average, parenthesis. Now the red M&Ms for Lily are at B8. So I'm going to just type B8. I got to put a colon right there. That's right next to the letter L. Got a shift. The red M&Ms for Natalie are at B22. So I'm going to say B22. Close those parentheses. Press enter. Now here's a thing that we may run into here. You're not really seeing all of the answer. You could widen the column out here. You could come up between B and C and widen the column. But what we're getting is a repeating decimal. And it's not really showing us the entire answer to that average calculation. So I could come up here. There's a couple of buttons on the toolbar up here that say decrease decimal place and increase decimal places. Well, I certainly don't want to increase it, but I might decrease it. I just kind of go click, 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 click. And you can take it down as far as you want, but now I've got it down to where, okay, that number is fitting in the cell, and it's showing me that it's 8.667. It was a repeating decimal, so it was going to go on kind of forever unless I shorten the decimal. All right, so that little button right there is the decrease decimal places button. Now I'm going to duplicate that over. Boom, and now we've got it. Now another, to me, I'm a nerd, but another interesting stat here that we've got is what's the average number of M&Ms in a bag. And we already said we knew it was going to be in the 50s, right? But now we've got it, 54.9. If you want to round that up, you know your rounding skills, don't you? If you want to round that up, it would be about 55 M&Ms. That's what we got in our 5th hour experiment. All right. Next little calculation we're going to make, it says lowest. Over here at A25 says lowest. What was the lowest number of red that anybody had? Here's how we do that. There's a special function for that. We don't really have to look and just type it. We go equals, and then an abbreviation, it's MIN. My caps lock's on. I don't like my caps lock on. MIN, and then parenthesis. And again, I've got to look at where the numbers are. Lily's red M&Ms are at B8, so I'm going to say B8 colon, and Natalie's red M&Ms are at B22, so I'll just say B22, close those parentheses. So it's going to look at all those numbers, and MIN tells the computer to look and find the smallest one. So I'll press enter, and we have it. The lowest number of red M&Ms was 4, and if I look up, there was Maddie. Maddie only had 4 red M&Ms. Wah, wah. All right, so I'm going to duplicate that over. And that also tells us over here on the total that the lowest number in a bag in 5th hour was 52. We already found that. That was Camden. Sorry, Camden. All right. Now, so the next one, highest, is similar, right? What was like? Let's talk about red M&Ms first. What was the biggest number of red M&Ms? All right. Well, here's how we do that. Equals. And I bet you can guess, but here it comes. It's an abbreviation, MAX. It means maximum, right? Max, MAX, biggest number. Parentheses, and we do that same thing. Lily's red M&Ms are where? B8. Put a colon. Natalie's red M&Ms are where? B22. Close the parentheses. So the computer's going to look at all those numbers, find the biggest one, and tell us what it is. Boom. All right, so 13 is our answer there, biggest number, and that was Anthony. He had 13 red M&Ms. Yay. All right, so we duplicate that over. All right, boom. And that again over here in column H tells us that 57 was our biggest number, and there were 3 of you, like Luke and Mackenzie and Quincy, all had 57 M&Ms in their bag. Okay, last calculation we're going to make here is a range between the lowest and the highest. What's the difference? You know, how much spread was there in red M&Ms? So this is going to be a range is like a difference, so it's going to be a subtraction kind of thing, and it might come out. Actually, we could do it so it doesn't come out negative. Yeah, let's do that. So we can go equals, and we're going to take the biggest. Like let's just think about red right now. Let's take the biggest number. Well, that would be B26, right? It's that 13. So I'm going to say B26. I didn't even put parentheses around it. And I'm going to say subtract, and it would be B25 on this one. If I look at the chart, it's column B, row 25. That's where that 4 is. So it'd be B25. And I press enter. And the range, and that's not hard math, but it's just, what I'm after is let's know how to make the computer do the math for you. It's not like it's difficult math. We know that 13 minus 4 is 9. But let's just use the value, or use the power of the computer, right? All right, so I'll duplicate that over, and then all you got to do the rest of the way is, you guessed it, I want you to format it a little bit. So if I come along here and say, I'm going to maybe just fill the field with some gray, and I might throw some borders on there, and I might, let's see, I might take this top and maybe fill that with like a darker gray, but switch that text color to like a real, I'm just kind of going kind of a gray, gray, shades of gray theme. Over here, I might fill that with a darker gray, not quite that dark, oops, sorry, that dark, and then change that text color to a lighter color, kind of like that. And you know what, I might right align all of that text like that. And you could format it different than that. You don't have to do it like I did it. Surely you know that, don't you? Right? I might take all of these numbers. Some of them were kind of centered anyway, but I think I might center all of them. Yeah. All right, so I got it formatted the way I want, and now I could go and turn this in. I've done everything I was supposed to do. I calculated these totals over here. I calculated these color totals right here. I calculated these averages. I got this lowest, highest, the range or the difference between the lowest and the highest, formatted it, bingo. It's your turn.